Hi everybody, it's Judy here. Welcome to today's video and thank you to everybody who has subscribed so far. If you're watching and you are not subscribed, I would really like to encourage you to do so because I upload 2 videos every week, always plant related, with an exception of one video on my channel where I talked about how plants have helped my mental health. Other than that video, everything else is indoor plant care related and just all that. So if you want to subscribe, then do it. In today's video, I want to talk about how I created my humidity box. So on a Facebook group page that I'm a part of, I did a live stream showing my humidity box and the plants that I've got inside of it. And I got a lot of questions of how I created that box and what I do to care for and maintain it. So I'm just gonna walk you through how I created this humidity box and what I do with it and why I did it. So let's go. I'm gonna have to stand up for this. Okay, so in this box is a whole bunch of smaller or younger plants that needed a whole lot of extra loving care over the winter time. So I put this box together maybe like 3 months ago and put in it all the smaller plants that I had that were struggling over the winter, over the colder months. Now that it's spring, I'm going to be taking them out of the box, but I'll talk you guys through that as well as I go along. So first of all, I got a big box, something that was tall enough to fit in some plants that stand a little bit taller. So this is a red cuprea, and as you can see, it's a little bit taller as well. So you're gonna want a box that has very high sides. You could also use a box that has more transparent sides, something that's more, you can see through. And that would probably be better as well for light reasons. Something that can filter through light a lot better than a box that is a little bit more opaque like this one is. Anyway, the only reason why I use this box is because this is the one I had, and so that's what I was working with. Grab a box, something that actually has a lid that fits on, like this one. This is the lid for it. You don't have to have a lid that's airtight. It helps to have a little bit of air being able to come in and out of that box as well. But I'm going to be talking about airflow as well. So first I'm going to talk about how I put the box together. Then I'm going to be talking about light, humidity, airflow, and management of the box. So you need a box. You need your plants that you're going to be putting in the box. In this case, I had the red cuprea, I had my gloriosum, which was kind of struggling over winter. I have a alocasia polly, which also went dormant over the winter, and it dropped most of its leaves except for like maybe 2 or 3. And I have a few other bits and pieces as well. In here I have a red arrow syngonium. I'll show you guys what's in the box once I've finished through the video at the end. So grab the box and put all the plants in that needed that little bit of extra care. So the reason why I put them in here over the winter was so to keep them ticking along. I didn't want them to go into full dormancy because I just didn't want them to. I wanted them to actually be okay within their space. Even if they didn't grow, even if they didn't keep shooting off new leaves, I wanted them to kind of just like hang in there and just stay happy through the colder months, which is why I created this box. So what I did, all of these pots, when I put them in, had fairly moist soil, but I also put in a bowl of water. So it doesn't have to be a glass bowl, it can be a cup, it can be a plastic container, it can be whatever, as long as it can hold water like this and it doesn't tip over in the box. The reason why I used a glass bowl is because it was the first one I had that I grabbed and it was close at hand. Put water in it, and I put this bowl in the box with the plants for the first maybe few weeks or so. So I've got this bowl in here. Some of the pots of soil are still quite wet and moist from watering as well, so I put them in the box. So this is just for example, put them in the box. This video is probably a little bit late considering we're now coming into spring and I'm about to take these plants out of the box, but I know that some of you are from around the world watching are now going into your colder season, so this video might be relevant to you as well. So I put them in the box. I'm not going to put them in because I've run out of space. So for example, just imagine with me, all right? So I put them in the box. Now I'm going to put the lid on. I'm going to put the lid on, and that's it. That's how you create a humidity box. It's very, very simple, you guys. Now I'm going to talk about where I put the box. So I have this box sitting in my bedroom next to a window that gets bright indirect light all day long. It gets a few hours of direct morning sunlight for about 2 or 3 hours, and then the sun moves on and then it gets bright indirect light for the rest of the day. I also have it sitting on a heat mat. What the heat mat does is that it helps maintain that humidity within the box. Now, if you were sitting this box in a warm space, you could probably go without the heat mat, but I found that the heat mat was just helpful in giving that little bit of an extra boost and creating almost like a greenhouse atmosphere inside the box for the plants. You don't necessarily need the heat mat, but I found it, especially in the depths of winter, it was very, very helpful for the plants to have that extra boost because it gets very cold here in Victoria. So I just personally found that it was really good to have that heat mat. If you're wanting to look for a heat mat, I've got it listed in the description box down below. It's from Catch of the Day, and if it's in stock, it should come out when you click that link. Otherwise, there's a whole bunch of other heat mats that you can find on Catch of the Day or online or anywhere really. But I've just got linked in the description the heat mat that I personally use for myself. So I've talked about warmth. Light, I've talked about light. It gets bright indirect light all day long. Humidity, that's what the bowl of water is for, and airflow. Airflow is really important for your plants, otherwise the air would be really stagnant and they still need to be able to breathe within the box as well. So what I did was open up the lid once a week and just left the lid open for maybe like an hour or so, then closed the lid again and just did that once a week. I continued this cycle all throughout winter, and when it came to watering, I didn't really need to water these plants a whole lot, especially because the humidity within the box would recycle. So the condensation would rise and then it would drop again and water all the pots, and then it would rise and then it would drop again. So it was kind of like its own little greenhouse, its own little atmosphere within the box. However, water does evaporate. So what I did maybe like once throughout the whole winter, I watered some of the drier pots and put them back in there, and that kept up the humidity within the box. So that's essentially how I created my humidity box. Now that we're coming into spring, I'm wanting to take out some of these plants out of the box and have them in with their plant friends here on the shelf. So what I did was, instead of taking them out of the box straight away, I let them acclimate to a space that doesn't have as high of humidity as it would within the box. The humidity in the box would have been like 90%, whereas the humidity out here is closer to 65 to 75%. And so I didn't want to shock them by taking them out of the box all at once, then popping them straight on the shelf, and then them having to struggle to acclimate to this new space. So what I did was, and I've had this lid off for maybe about 3 days now, and I've just kept them on the heat mat. I've kept them in the same space with the light in the bedroom, but all I've done was take the lid off and let them let their leaves dry out and get used to a little bit of drier air up here. The humidity within the box would still be fairly high because it's got the walls, it's got the moist soil pots, and it's still got that moisture within the box. So it still has that level of humidity. However, the lid isn't on, the leaves have acclimated to a bit of drier air, and now that I've had the lid off for a couple days, I'm able to now take them out and pop them on the shelf and fill in the little empty spots that I have with these smaller plants. So that's basically how I set up my humidity box, how I maintain the airflow, light, warmth, and all of that. It's pretty simple really, but I'm not sure if you've really had it explained to you like step by step what I did. I have talked about this humidity box on my YouTube channel before with one of my videos, but now I'm gonna talk you through what I have in the box because now I've got some propagations in there. So now I'm gonna pop this box back in the space where I've got it, and I'm gonna show you guys what I currently have sitting within this box. Okay, so I have you guys here with me in my bedroom. So this is the heat mat that I was talking about. I currently have that pot of calathea sitting on there because it's really struggling, as you can see. Crispy edges. I struggled with the arbifolia, but I found that this pot was sitting really wet for too long, so I have it sitting on the heat mat. The reason why I have it in the container was because it was dripping water out the bottom just not that long ago, and I didn't want that heat mat to be directly in contact with the pot itself because I didn't want to damage or burn the roots of the arbifolia. So that's just why I have that sitting there. Okay, so this is where I had that box sitting all throughout winter. This is the window. It gets bright indirect light all day long, a couple hours or 2 or 3 hours of bright direct morning sunlight in the morning. And yeah, that's just the situation that I have it in. All right, now in the box, this is what I have. I just took out the Gloriosum, the Alocasia, and the Cuprea just before because I am now going to bring them out and pop them on the shelf in the dining room. But I had someone ask me to show these cuttings in the box after I potted them up in my last repot video. So I will show that to you. Now, this is a alocasia that I bought from Sugarloaf Nursery not that long ago. It's kind of struggling, but the reason why I bought it was because it's so multi-planted. I think it has like at least 5 plants within that. It's very small, but that's okay. I'm just gonna let it just tick along there and do its thing, and hopefully in time it'll pick up and start to give me some brand new leaves. But that's not variegation, that's a leaf dying off. Alright, so here is the Hoya that I potted up. These are all the same type, just have them all sitting here. The reason why I have them in this humidity box is so that they can kind of like have some warmth and a bit of help as they root into that soil that I potted them into. But they look like they're actually doing okay, which is amazing. These pots, once they fill out, they are going to be so full. I have at least 10 cuttings in each of these pots, so that's going to be really full and amazing. And when they're really big, I might sell some, but that's not going to be for a while yet. It's probably going to be a whole nother growing season before that gets really long. So I just have it sitting in this box, and here is the string of hearts that I also potted up. It's doing okay since I potted it up. It's got those little new shoots of growth, so this is also going to be a really super full string of hearts once that gets bigger. And who knows, I might sell it, I might keep it, I don't know yet, but there we go. What else have I got in here? I have a silver dragon, which I'm also going to bring out of the box now that it's spring and we have some consistently warmer days and the nights aren't as cold as they used to be during the winter. But look at the new growth on this one. Can you see this new leaf? Oh, it's so cute. This was actually 2 plants that I had, and I potted them together into this one. I just wanted it to be a little bit more full and look a little bit less lonely. I have this Rhubarba, which is actually starting to pick up now. It's looking a lot better since I put it in this box. It's given me a lot of new growth. This box was just kind of like a greenhouse, kind of like to give it the atmosphere that they really need in order for them to really take off, which is why I created this box. And here is a Red Arrow Syngonium. This was a little bit expensive. I got it from Bunnings, and it was just like one really long vine in the pot. So what I did was I pinned down all those nodes, and from each node it's actually activated. I'm gonna pin this little trailing one that's escaping from the pot. I'm going to pin that back down into the soil and get that to activate as well. And then over time I'll have a really full head of this Red Arrow. And then once that's really full, then I'll start to let it trail and vine down the sides of the pot. But it's not quite there yet. In the meantime, let's enjoy that beautiful growth. Oh, it's so pretty. Alright, and here's another Red Cuprea, which has got a new little leaf popping through there. The leaves are a bit small, but that's okay. It's gonna take its time. It's just there doing its thing. And yeah, that's what I currently have in this box. This was a lot more full not that long ago, but I've since taken some plants out after acclimating them to having the lid off, not having as high of humidity within the box. Now I'm gonna pull them out and sit them on the shelf with the other plants for the spring. So there we go. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. These are the plants that I've pulled out. I'm gonna put them in some cover pots and pop them on the shelf here, and hopefully they'll be happy now for the spring. That box and the things that I did with it, that sounds wrong. That box and the things that I did with, in terms of light, humidity, airflow and all that, you can also do that with a cabinet. I've seen people do it with IKEA cabinets and turn those into like greenhouses as well. So it doesn't have to be just one of those plastic boxes. It could be any enclosure that has sides that light can filter through, basically. So yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you found it helpful and informative. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. Thanks so much for spending your time here with me today, and I shall see you guys in my next video. Bye!